from wealthdragons.co.uk, and I've been receiving a lot of questions from people just to say how the lease options actually work. And a lot of you have probably been getting a lot of emails about lease options and what are options. So I'm just going to really quickly describe to you what you would use a lease option for and how it actually works. So let's just say we've got this house here, okay? The purpose of you getting into property right now, I assume, is to either become financially free, you want some extra money, you want to build a pension, you want to buy a better car, bigger house, you want to quit your job, replace your salary again, and the whole point is to buy a house and rent it out and make a profit. So let me give you an example. Let's just say you want to buy this house here. Normally, you'd have to buy it like this. You would need a mortgage, and once you've got a mortgage, well, first of all, you have to be able to get a mortgage. So, for those of you who are listening who want to invest in property, to make to rent it out and make some cash flow, you may not be able to do that because you can't get a mortgage. Maybe you have bad credit ratings. Maybe you have missed payments. Maybe you've tried to apply for a mortgage but can't get a mortgage. I know a lot of people that come to us can't actually get a mortgage, so therefore they stop investing. Well, you shouldn't let that get in the way. Second thing that stops you from buying a house is a deposit, which means if this house was you're going to buy this house and it's £100,000, then first of all you have to be able to get a mortgage. So the mortgage company would lend you 75,000, and you would be expected to deliver a deposit of 25,000 currently in the current climate. So obviously that will change depending on if banks decide to lend you more or not. But as it stands, the bank will only lend you, most banks will lend you 75% of what the house is worth. In this case, it's 75,000, which means you need £25,000. 75 plus 25 equals 100 to buy this property. Now, mortgage payments on a £75,000 on average, say at 5%, would cost you £312 per month. Now, obviously, you would have to rent a property more than that to try and get profit. So, in Milton Keynes at the moment, an average property here, say a three-bed mid-terrace, will go for £550 to £600. So, if you look at this, I've got a mortgage of 75, I've got a deposit of 25,000. So, I've either got to I need both of these to buy this in order to rent it out. So if you did that, you'd make a cash flow of £288. Now here's the problem, and here's where lease options come in. Now think about this for a while. You need to think about how much money you need to replace your salary. So if you look at an average salary of £3,000 a month, if you're basing that off £288 a month, let me grab a calculator, divided by 288, it means you need about 10 houses. So first of all, you need to decide how to find 10 houses, and then once you make the cash flow, then that would replace your salary. But the problem here is most people can't get a mortgage, and they don't have 10 times 25,000. To get that, you would have to have £250,000 in the bank, and most people can't do that, and most people don't have that money. So the question lies here: how, if we're just investing in property, what we want to do is to get to this £288 a month. Actually, you can get a lot more than that depending on what different strategies you use. But I'm just dealing with the basic strategies here. So the question is, how do you get to that figure, £288, without having to get this and without having to get this? So the way lease options work is, a lot of people, now you got to be careful, a lot of people confuse lease options with tenant buyers. And there's a lot of mentors out there teaching lease options with tenant buyers, and it is a good strategy depending on the current climate. But a lot of people say, well, in order to do a lease option, I need to do a lease option and then get a tenant buyer. Now, if you're thinking, what is a tenant buyer and what's a lease option, just bear that in mind for a second. All you want to do, the strategy you want, is to get £288 without having to borrow money from the bank and without having to put down £25,000. Now, here's how it works. A lease option takes this out, takes out your mortgage, and takes out your deposit. So the way it works is, you need to find people who already have a mortgage of around this £312 a month, and all you do is you take over that person's mortgage. So it's a bit like you subletting their property. Now, a lot of you thinking, well, how can you do that? Well, there's obviously you need legal agreements and paperwork to do that in order to take over someone's mortgage, but that's all you do. So literally, with the lease option, you take over this £312, and then you rent it for a profit at £600, and you make £288. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, well, those are arbitrary figures. That's right. Well, what if this £312 a month was £600? And I could only rent it for £600. Well, there's different lease option strategies which actually get you above what this £600 figure is. Okay, so it doesn't matter really what this figure is here. If you know all these lease option strategies, it means you can actually make a profit every time. That means those of you who've got properties in your area thinking, well, properties don't stack up in my area. Well, yes, if you're living in an expensive area like London, I have a lot of students in London who are doing this one strategy and making over £1,000 a month from that. My question is, how many of those £1,000 a month do you need to replace your income? We held a 4-day intensive here, and one of our students wanted to buy a BMW M3. Now, BMW M3 is only £500 a month, which means you only need two of these properties to go and buy yourself a BMW M3, as in to pay for it on a monthly basis. So this, in a nutshell, very quickly, is what lease options is. There's so many different variations of lease options. There's actually 31 different option strategies, variations of them that you can use, which we've actually put together. And once you actually implement these into your business, it's very profitable and it creates cash flow. Really, lease options, if you think about it, another word for lease options is actually cash flow, and that's what you use it for. So it's very profitable. If you want to know more information on lease options, we're actually, Vincent Wong and myself are the UK's first authors on lease options in the UK, and you can go to Amazon and get it, or you can go to Waterstones and get it. And it does give you, it's very informative, it's to the point, it's got a lot of content in there, a lot of case studies, a lot of deals that we've done. And if you want to grab the first 31 pages of that, if you go to learnleaseoptions.co.uk, you can actually download it and read it for yourself. And there's also an interview with myself there as well. You get the first 15 minutes for free. You can listen to that again in how lease options works in a lot more detail. So I hope you found this useful. Please go away and try this stuff out yourself, but make sure that you do have legal representation when you do it. You need the paperwork, you need all the contracts in place, and a deal needs to be done right from the start. So hope you enjoyed this, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks.